For decades, Thailand occupied a special place in the travel world. It was the country people recommended when someone wanted beautiful scenery, incredible food, reliable tourism infrastructure, and a trip that did not completely destroy their budget. Few destinations anywhere on Earth managed to combine those ingredients as successfully. The formula seemed almost unbeatable. Travelers could spend their mornings exploring temples, their afternoons on tropical beaches, and their evenings enjoying some of the world's most famous street food. Whether you were a backpacker, retiree, digital nomad, or luxury traveler, Thailand offered something that felt surprisingly affordable. As a result, Thailand became known as Southeast Asia's value king. Not necessarily the cheapest destination in the region, but often the destination that delivered the most complete experience for the money spent. For years, that reputation went largely unchallenged. Today, however, a new conversation is emerging among travelers. Increasingly, people who once automatically recommended Thailand are also talking about Vietnam. Some are even suggesting that Vietnam now delivers better value overall. At first, that sounds surprising. Thailand remains one of the world's most visited destinations and continues to attract millions of travelers every year. The country still possesses remarkable strengths that made it famous in the first place. Bangkok remains one of Asia's great cities. The islands continue attracting visitors from around the world, and destinations like Chiang Mai retain enormous appeal. Thailand has not suddenly become a poor travel destination. That is what makes the discussion so interesting. The story is not about Thailand declining. The story is about Vietnam improving. For many years, Vietnam occupied a different position in Southeast Asian tourism. Travelers often viewed it as an interesting addition to a regional itinerary rather than the main event. People visited Vietnam because they were already traveling through Southeast Asia. That perception has changed dramatically. Increasing numbers of travelers are now planning entire trips around Vietnam itself. Some are even choosing Vietnam over destinations they once considered automatic choices. Part of this shift begins with cost. While prices have risen across much of Southeast Asia, many travelers still find Vietnam surprisingly affordable relative to the experience it offers. Hotels, food, transportation, and everyday expenses often compare favorably with many popular destinations elsewhere in the region. But focusing only on prices misses the bigger picture. The most interesting changes involve value rather than cost. Those two ideas sound similar, but they are not the same thing. Cost is simply what you pay. Value is what you receive in return. For years, Thailand excelled because it offered both. Travelers paid relatively little and received an extraordinary experience. That combination built the country's reputation. Vietnam is increasingly generating a similar reaction among visitors. Travelers often leave feeling that they received far more than they expected for the money they spent. That perception is becoming one of Vietnam's greatest advantages. Food is one area where this becomes immediately noticeable. Thailand has long been considered one of the world's premier culinary destinations, and rightly so. Thai cuisine remains one of the strongest reasons people visit the country. Vietnam, however, has quietly developed an equally passionate following. From Hanoi's bustling street food culture to the seafood of Da Nang and the energy of Ho Chi Minh City, many travelers discover that Vietnamese food becomes a highlight of their entire trip. What surprises some visitors is the consistency. Incredible meals are often available at prices that feel remarkably reasonable by international standards. The experience creates a powerful sense of value. Transportation is another area where travelers are reassessing assumptions. Vietnam's domestic flight network, rail system, and growing infrastructure have made moving around the country increasingly accessible. Many visitors find it easier than they expected to explore multiple regions during a single trip. The country's geography also contributes to this experience. Travelers can move between dramatically different landscapes while remaining within the same country. Mountains, coastlines, historic cities, modern urban centers, and rural communities all exist within relatively accessible reach. Thailand offers similar diversity, of course. The difference is that Vietnam still feels newer to many international travelers. That freshness influences how people experience the destination. When destinations become extremely popular, expectations rise. Travelers often arrive with detailed mental images formed through years of marketing, social media, and travel content. Meeting those expectations can become difficult. Vietnam benefits from a different dynamic. Many travelers arrive with fewer assumptions and leave pleasantly surprised. That gap between expectation and reality often creates strong impressions. Another factor influencing the discussion is authenticity. This word appears frequently in travel conversations, although it means different things to different people. For some visitors, Vietnam feels less shaped by international tourism. Daily life often appears more visible and accessible. Travelers frequently describe feeling closer to the rhythms of ordinary local life. That does not mean Vietnam lacks tourism infrastructure. Quite the opposite. The country has invested heavily in improving the visitor experience. What many travelers notice is that tourism and everyday life often seem more intertwined. Markets, neighborhoods, cafes, and public spaces frequently feel active because local communities use them as much as visitors do. Thailand still offers countless authentic experiences as well. The challenge is that its most famous destinations have become so successful that some travelers feel separated from local life more quickly than they once did. This is particularly noticeable in certain heavily visited areas. Tourism infrastructure can become so efficient that travelers spend much of their time interacting with systems designed specifically for visitors. Vietnam often feels different. Even in popular destinations, many travelers describe feeling more connected to the surrounding environment and community. Whether that perception is entirely accurate is less important than the fact that many visitors share it. The rise of digital nomads has added another layer to the conversation. For years, Thailand dominated this space, attracting remote workers from around the world. Cities like Chiang Mai became synonymous with location-independent lifestyles. Vietnam is increasingly entering that discussion. Cities such as Da Nang, Ho Chi Minh City, and Hanoi are attracting growing numbers of long-stay visitors who appreciate the balance between affordability, infrastructure, and quality of life. This shift reflects a broader change in how travelers evaluate destinations. Increasingly, people are thinking beyond simple vacation experiences. They are considering what daily life actually feels like. How easy is transportation? How affordable is housing? How enjoyable is the food scene? How comfortable is long-term living? These questions favor destinations that deliver strong overall value, rather than simply low prices. That distinction matters because value has become more important than cost alone. Another reason Vietnam is gaining momentum involves tourism maturity. Thailand has spent decades refining its tourism industry into one of the world's most effective systems. That achievement deserves enormous credit. At the same time, maturity can create challenges. Highly developed destinations sometimes lose part of the sense of discovery that originally attracted visitors. Vietnam still retains more of that feeling for many travelers. The country is well established, yet it continues to feel like a destination that people are actively discovering rather than simply consuming. That sense of discovery creates excitement. Travelers enjoy feeling that they have found something before everyone else, even when millions of other people are arriving at the same conclusion. Perhaps the most important point is that this is not really a contest between two countries. Thailand remains one of the greatest travel destinations in Asia and will continue attracting enormous numbers of visitors. What is changing is the definition of value itself. Travelers today are evaluating destinations through a wider lens than previous generations. They are measuring convenience, comfort, authenticity, affordability, infrastructure, food, atmosphere, and long-term livability all at once. The destination that scores highest across those categories often wins the value discussion. For decades, Thailand dominated that conversation. It earned its reputation through an extraordinary combination of experiences that few countries could match. Today, however, Vietnam is making a compelling case of its own. Not because Thailand stopped being great, but because Vietnam has quietly become much stronger. That may be the most important travel story unfolding in Southeast Asia right now. A long-held title is not necessarily being taken away. It is being challenged. And for the first time in many years, a growing number of travelers believe the Value King crown may no longer belong exclusively to Thailand.